Hello everyone and welcome back to PSGL here for F6 at the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's round 5 of season 30 here on the PlayStation side of PSGL. Qualifying has begun. Sorry for the late start to the stream. We're just over 8 minutes in, so we've missed the first runs, but only 10 lap times into face. Haven't missed too much, and I'm sure most of these drivers, if not all of them, will set much improved lap times on their next attempts. So yes, hello everyone and welcome. Sorry about that brief pause there, we're back again now. Again, didn't miss too much, which is good. But yeah, again, apologies for that little break there. But yes, we are now almost 10 minutes into qualifying. It's currently IFR Milan at the top of the timesheets, with QRT Jonah in second, TF Trasmike in third, and TRD Chiquito in fourth. Just have a quick look now at some of the previous race results, so I can give you guys a rundown of what you may have missed if you haven't seen previous weeks. So I'll get that up for you now, so that you can well, know what's happened so far this season here in F6. Let's get standings up for you. So yes, Kart Racer currently top of the standings. 3 consecutive wins for him now. The first race of the season he got third place, and for that to be his worst result of the season so far is quite impressive. So brilliant season so far from Kart Racer, who currently sits 5th in the timesheets. Looks like he's making his way into the pit lane now. He has got a 33-point championship lead, which is huge in PSGL standards. That's over 2 race wins of points over the rest of the field, which is just almost impossible to believe that only 4 races into the season he's that far ahead. Like, it is certainly an impressive feat from Kart Racer, but only 6th at the moment, so maybe we're starting to see some of the other drivers pick things up a little bit. But equally, maybe Kart Racer just didn't quite get his first lap in. It is Ischik currently second in the championship. He won round 1 of the season, the only race that Kart Racer didn't win. And yeah, he's currently second, drives for a Red Bull. He's had a mixed season so far. Of course, he started the season off in just a brilliant way, winning out in Portimao as he comes into the pit lane now on the medium tyres. But yeah, started off the season pretty much perfectly, winning the first race of the season, but then only scoring 6 points in Britain, then a DNF in Monaco, followed up by only 3 points in France. It's not been the start of the season he would have wanted, as we see Milan go fast there at the top of the times. Strong lap there, 4 tenths of a second ahead of his rivals. So it's a strong session so far for Milan. Jonah in second for Haas. Jonah currently sitting third in the Drivers' Championship. He only 35 points off the lead, 2 points behind Ischik, so not doing too badly. But of course, yeah, it does seem very much at the moment that Kart Racer in a league of his own in terms of championship points. But the races, not all of them have necessarily been the same. We've seen a lot of close battles for the win. It seems that we've seen a range of different drivers battling for wins this season, but there's been one sort of thing that is continuous among them all, is that Kart Racer has been in the fight. And well, let's say he's won 3 of them. So yeah, that's the one thing that Kart Racer seems to have over the field, is that consistency that some of the others seem to be struggling a little bit with. But yeah, currently top of the timesheets, Milan. He, I believe, let's have a look, let's find him in the championship. I believe maybe it'll be a reserve, a new driver that's come in the Aston Martin. Just having a look. Yes, I do believe he may be a reserve. May joined in recent sign-ups, or maybe got promoted from a lower tier. He's currently top of the times, and I believe, is this an in-lap for him at the moment? Yes, it is indeed. Or maybe a cooldown lap to go again, who knows? And no, he comes into the pit here, but yes, Milan is new, so no points on the board for him yet, which of course means that if he won today, it probably wouldn't worry Kart Racer too much. If anyone's going to beat him, he'd want it to be someone that isn't really anywhere near him in the title fight, because whilst he has that lead I mean, we're only 4 races in the season, this is round 5, it could all change so quickly, so that's something they've got to keep an eye on. So if he's going to be finishing second or third, he's going to want to be behind people that are significantly behind him in the championship, which to be fair is most of the field. But in this scenario, he's not going to want to see Izchik and Jonah being up at the front because they're his closest rivals in the championship. He'd much rather see people like Milan at the front, and as things stand, that is the case. But Jonah in second at the moment, Kari's down 7th, not where he'd want to be as we Trasmike down the track. As things stand, making his way around this circuit. Rebel driver started off the season as a reserve, I believe, has proved himself as a worthy driver and got himself that full-time Red Bull seat. He'll be looking to put in some impressive performances for that team, just to sort of show what he's capable of. He's been sort of rewarded with this seat. He's now going to want to sort of show himself as a driver that is definitely deserving of that seat, and so far so good for Trasmike, currently sitting 5th in the championship, so strong season for him so far. He has a podium to his name, sadly 2 non-point scores as well, but those of course, you know, inconsistency, especially when he was only a reserve driver, is understandable. Kart racer now, is this an in? Maybe he's in, it's a strange one, he's on the racetrack, not on a flying lap though, obviously 12 seconds down, be a worrying flying lap if he was. Maybe he is going to be building up for a lap, maybe he made a mistake on this lap and has fueled for an extra attempt just in case that happened. Of course, clearly it has. These drivers all searching for the perfect lap time, which is very, very hard to get, but Kart Race is going to do all he can to try and get it. So let's run board here with our championship leader as he starts his flying lap here at the Hungary, a track known for its difficulty to overtake on. He dives into turn 1, probably the best overtaking spot of the lap. Pretty tight corner, second, third gear sort of corner. DRS opens on exit 4, really the only other overtaking opportunity of the lap, into turn 2. A bit quicker than turn 1, but a similar sort of shape, only difference is a left-hander. Now downhill sharply through the right, a flat-out right-hander. Those drivers will be pushing limits of that corner just to make sure that it's as quick as possible. Now up into a very tricky turn 4. Very easy to invalidate in that corner, very easy to have a little snap of oversteer on exit and throw your race away. You go wide there and he invalidates a lap time. Kart Racer with a mistake at the Hungary and is going to throw his lap away just as he sort of prepared himself for the sort of one of the toughest part of this racetrack. Of course, this S section, almost never-ending corners. You're just trying to drive the car through here, and it's sort of steadily speeds up throughout it, but it's still always on the edge of grip, and that'll be frustrating for him to have that invalidation. But I imagine he will maybe try and go again here. Not going to want to start down in 7th. Maybe he's got some fuel for an extra lap. Let's wait and see. Will he come into the pits? He's going to... No, he's going to come into the pits. That Kart Racer could be his session over. Let's wait and see. Only less than 2 minutes left in the session. That is Kart Racer session over. Shame for the championship leader, but that could make things a bit more exciting in the title fight there. Kart Racer into the pit lane and will start no better than 7th in today's race. Chiquito is currently out on the racetrack. Let's see what he's able to do in the Aston Martin. Currently 100 and a little bit up on his lap time. Making his way through some of the long twisty corners of this circuit. You can see why it's hard to overtake. It's narrow. And there's not especially long stretch between the corners. Not a chance for these drivers to reel in each other. See Chiquito going into this high-speed S section now. Steadily building up the speed of these cars out of the way. Using all the track there on exit. Doesn't invalidate though, which is of course the crucial thing. You can use as much as you want as long as you don't see that track map turn red. Diving into the final sector now, slower speed corners, little bit slower, a little bit calmer than the previous S section, but just as crucial, just as important to nail these corners. Now into the final corner, Cheeto will go. Let's see what sort of lap time this will be for the Aston Martin driver. Out of the final corner now, very close to invalidation, but keeps it within and stays 6th fastest, only able to gain 17 milliseconds there. But some other drivers now on lap times. Let's have a look at Davey, currently down, he's off the road. Davey will not improve in this session. That's or maybe that's the I don't know. That's he looks to and yep, lap definitely over there. Milan, I believe, now also on a lap. The driver currently fastest is going to make his way around the racetrack. Let's see what he can do on this flying lap. As this strike has jumped up into 2nd place, but still 2.5 tenths off your current provisional pole sitter Milan, making his way into turn 2, pushing limits as always. You can see the car really trying to fight him as they make their way down the hill. Now up to one of the toughest corners on the racetrack, if not the toughest corner on the racetrack. A car on the inside that might throw him off a little bit, and it maybe just did as he invalidates his lap time. And Milan will not be happy there. Perhaps that car on the inside did distract him just a little bit. It's easily done. The car was out of the way. You can't really blame the car for blocking him. But still, that is a unfortunate place to find another car on the racetrack, and he will not be able to improve his lap time. So it's down to the others to try and catch him now. Jonah, what's he able to do on his lap? Coming out of the chicane into the S section now in Sector 2. Again, you can just see how hard it is to overtake here. Just look at the size of the track and look at the speed of the track. There's no chance for going wheel to wheel, at least not in a safe manner here as his car way off the road, letting him through. Jonah slightly down on their lap, 400ths of a second into the final sector. Maybe there was a mistake that Jonah made on his previous final sector, knows that there might be time to find. But let's wait and see now. Through the final corner, they will come. Gets it in a little bit wide of the apex, but gets a nice late apex there. On the power, uses all the road. Let's see what this lap time is going to be. It's an improvement by half a tenth, but not enough to improve their position. Jonah only able to get third place. Davey currently up by 0.2 of a second here. A very impressive lap time. This lap time, in theory, will put Davey second on the grid. However, so we're going to come down to these final couple of corners. Got to keep it clean here. Could gain some time, maybe be in the fight for pole, but could lose some time and maybe drop back down the order. Let's see what this lap time is going to be from Davey. It's going to only be fourth, does lose some time in that final sector. Loses about 1/10 of a second there. Only fourth on the grid, but still not a bad performance there for Davey. Teammate Yagazan has backed off their lap at this stage. And that looks like that is qualifying done. It's Milan for Aston Martin on pole position here. And it's going to be TRD Rafa who will get alongside them on the front row. Ischik will be third, with Davey lining up in fourth here. Jonah fifth, going to try and look to do some more in the race, but looking like we've got a pretty close field apart from Milan, who seems to be almost in a class of his own at the moment. But yeah, it's a curiously spread out field at the moment. You see some of those drivers down the order, not as close as you normally expect, but maybe this is just one of those tracks that really separates the talent. We see some circuits, for example Interlagos, where everyone will be within half a second. But maybe this is just one of those tracks where sort of the opposite is the case. It's just such a technical track. It's so hard to put a lap together that we see a grid that looks a bit like this, where you see the 8/10 covers the first 12 cars. It's hardly a spread out field, but in the standards we've seen in the past, that could cover the field, the entirety, all 20 cars sometimes. On to today's occasion, only 12 cars, but Kart Racer, starting 11th, he's been gifted effectively pole position of the alternative strategy. He could do a lot with that. Split strategy, maybe start on the mediums or hards, around here could make a massive difference. And that's going to be an interesting one to look out for in the race. Kart Racer, your championship leader, even when something goes wrong for him, which it looks to have in this session, it goes right, gets 11th on the grid. That is an interesting thing to follow in the race. Could we see Kart Racer put in a recovery drive and get himself back into that fight for the win? We will just have to wait and see as we prepare for the formation lap now. Fairly exciting qualifying session there. Now all eyes turn to the race. Whilst we wait for the race to start, we'll have a quick rundown of the constructor standings. 19-point gap between the top two at the moment. McLaren ahead of Ferrari. And it's Haas in third, 4 points further back from Ferrari. But yeah, again, not as spread out as the Drivers' Championship, but equally, it's not exactly neck and neck for the front of the Teams' Championship. So, yeah, it's early stages of the season. We're not even a third of the way through the season yet. Of course, after today's race we will be, but not quite a third of the way through the season yet. So, can't read into it too much, but equally at the same time, we're getting to that point in the season where you do have to really think about the Championship. Yeah. You've got the points there, you've got enough points on the board to really have an idea of where everyone is. It's now about all these drivers trying to move themselves up the order, try and get a few extra points than their rivals. I'm sure that will be their focus today as the drivers take to the formation lap now. Let's have a look at what drivers chose what tyres. Always an exciting part here. Let's have a look. Let's go on board with the Aston Martin of Milan. Your pole to Milan will be starting, of course, on the soft tyres, as all at the top 10 will be. Rafa second, Ischik third, Davey in fourth, Jonah in fifth. Sparks will start in sixth place with Trasmike seventh, Yagazan eighth, Chiquito in ninth, and Chaza will be in 10th for this race. All those, as I said, on the soft tyre, had to qualify on those tyres to get into the top 10. That's what the tyre they will be starting on. 11th, of course, the championship leader by a massive margin. Kart Racer will start 11th on those medium tyres, lovely fresh medium rubber. That could make a big difference in this race today. Charlie Moon in 12th, also on the medium compound, with Cameron in 13th on the mediums as well. First hard runners, Mikulicu. He is on the hard compound tyre, going to go long in this first stint. Maybe mix things up for the second stint, try and get some of that track position back, and be one to watch, certainly. Ediati Bottle on the mediums, Jasak also on the mediums, Jake Marsh GP on the mediums. We've seen a couple interesting performances from drivers down further at the back of the field when they have sort of had obviously the opportunity to be on this different compound compared to the top 10. At tracks like Hungary, it can make a big difference, and I look for seeing some of these guys, especially maybe on the hard, to make a difference here. So I'm certainly going to keep my eye on some of these drivers that have had tougher qualifying sessions, maybe not been right there with the pace, but I mean, they've got the tyres now to make something happen in this, and I would not be surprised if we saw quite a few of these drivers that are currently sort of in this bottom 5 perhaps, get up into the points today. So can't rule anyone out in today's race, but the cars are now lining up on the grid for, well, I'm sure be an exciting Grand Prix. The two Ferraris locking out the final row of the grid. Lynx will line up into their grid spots now. 19 drivers, there's 35 laps ahead of them. They're all on the grid, the lights are coming on. Who will take the win here in Hungary? The lights are out and we are racing in Hungary. It's a good start for Milan. Can Rafa do anything from second? Looks like he's had a fairly decent start, but has to slot in behind the Aston Martin there. As they're racing all the way down to the grass, down into turn 1. McLaren onto the Mercedes, a little bit of contact there. And that's going to send, I believe, Ischik off the road as there's cars around. Rafa has had a moment here in turn 1. He's had a half spin there and up at the front of the field. It looks like they're staying pretty racy around here. As that's Yagazan, who's had a very strong start here. So is Trasmike. As there's more carnage in the back. They're all over the road as they come down the hill. And the virtual safety car has been deployed here. As I believe Cameron has had an incident at the back of the field. And already this race has been flipped on its head. And, oh, there we go, yes, it's Cameron going slowly with no wing here, and that is why the virtual safety car has been deployed. For some debris on the racetrack, I have to assume. But yes, that was a pretty exciting start here. Milan with already a sizable gap to the field. Looking like this could be his day, but of course, tyre strategy. And also, with, what, half a lap into the race, it's really early to start predicting things. Kart Racer up 3 positions, sorry, off the start. Good start from him. Let's have a look at the winners and losers off that start, shall we? Biggest winner off the start, that goes to Yagazan, getting 5 places from 8th up to 3rd. Biggest loser off that start, Jonah. 11 positions dropped there. Unfortunate for the driver who had a very strong qualifying session, but now finds himself down in 16th place. That's not where they would have wanted to be. But yeah, sometimes you have a start that's like that, and that sparked already into the pits. Could that be wing damage from the McLaren driver? There's more drivers following them in. Is this wing damage, or is this a strategy call here? Let's see what they're going to go to. They're going to go on to... I can't see what the tyres are because we've got a bad camera angle. Let's wait and see here. It is going to be hard tyres for Sparks, and that must be a wing change, as it is for all of these guys that have come into the pits. Exciting stuff here, and I think we might have to look at the graphic again for what drivers have had good starts, because that's changed everything once again, as we see Charlie Moon and Chazza battling out down the hill, racing hard here in Hungary. But Charlie Moon will just miss out on that position, and already retiring from the race. Cameron has given up. Damage on lap 1. I mean, there was another, what, 34 laps left in this thing. Maybe there could have been a safeguarding him back in the fight, but it seems Cameron has decided that that wasn't for him, and he is retired for this race after just 1 racing lap. And well, that was mostly on the virtual safety car, so couldn't really even call it a racing lap. But Milan leads here. Yagazan again gaining a place up in 2nd, as we've got a spinner at the back. Ischik has gone around, coming up the hill, and is that another wing gone for the Red Bull driver? Started up near the front, sitting 2nd in the Drivers' Championship. Let's see. The wing looks fairly intact here. May have been a nice sort of soft spin there, avoiding any of the barriers, but yeah, it's a shame for Ischik dropping down the order. There's a lot of battling going on through here, as there's a yellow flag, and Mikulicu is around here for Alpine, resets to track and gets going again, as into the pits comes Jasak. AlphaTauri not having a couple of laps here. Coming in now. Mikulicu will stay out on the racetrack. despite the spin there. Both Ferraris, they lined up on the back row of this grid. They are now 9th and 10th. That's the sort of race it's been so far. But yes, it is an interesting start. And Kart Racer already into 5th. That is a brilliant start here. It seemed that those that were starting sort of around P10 and backwards were in the perfect spot for the race start. They were far enough up the order so that they didn't... well, so they were ahead of quite a lot of cars, but equally, they were far enough back in the order that they didn't get caught up on that turn 1 melee, as this track retires from the race second in the championship. Will take no points home today, and already we're just 2.5 laps in, and already 2 retirements in today's race. At this rate, we won't have any finishers, but as we see Charlie Moon go off the road a little bit there, but that's turn 1 melee could well have cost quite a few drivers a chance in this race, and understandably some of them are quite unhappy about it. But at the moment it is Milan pulling away out front, 3-second lead after just 3 laps. Fast lap as well there for the Aston Martin driver, Yagazan in second, trying to do all he can to reel him in. But as we see a battle here going on for third place, Chiquito and Krasmike. That's a slow going Red Bull, and that there is a car that I believe has left the session, as Fruitful has left the session as well. Could this be some sort of issue as this trike leaves? Let's go and have a look, shall we? Is there any potential issues with the lobby? Not seeing any messages, so it just seems like Fruitful may well have lagged out there, which is a shame for the Ferrari driver after such a strong start. But as fair as AI is putting him some decent corners here, staying ahead of his teammate, but now, yes, they will lose the position. Or will they? What have they got their AR on this week? It's looking very quick. Fruitful still holding on to that P9 and will now let their teammate through. Jake Marsh, he is just about to make his way into the points here as Fruitful drops down the order. But up at the front, Milan leads the way, Yagazan in second, doing all they can to try and reel the leader, but they're losing more and more time here. The soft tyres, not especially nice to drive on, it seems, at this stage of the race. Could we perhaps see Yagazan nursing them a little bit more than our race leader currently is? That certainly is a factor that we may have to consider when looking at the lead gap. But it's much easier to conserve the tyres, conserve your ERS, and all those sorts of conservation, all those things that you need to conserve when you're in the DRS of another car, because you can just push that little less harder and still get the lap times out of it. Of course, Yagazan not in the DRS to lead, 3.5 seconds back. You need to be within a 1 second gap to get that. As we have yellow flags, and that's at the final corner. That is Davey, who's had a moment. He's spun out of the final corner there. Looks like they're going to get going again. And they're all over the place here. They don't look particularly happy with that spin. And they will get going as around goes Sparks. Another driver's had a problem here. Driver who, of course, had some damage on lap 1, had to pit for the hards. They've gone around. It seems the drivers on these hard tyres are struggling quite a bit. 4 grippers again, another snap for Sparks. They are not comfortable with their car at the moment, and will always again off the road. Oh, that's going to be a big spin. Can they keep it out of the barriers? Into the wall with the rear. Let's see if they get away with it, though, as they come back onto the racetrack. They're going to stay well out of the way of all the cars that are coming through. And Sparks loses more ground. It's around again. The hot tyres really hurting them here. And Sparks will not be happy in the slightest. Needs a safety car to get back in this race. And that does not look like it will be coming, at least on this occasion. Sparks needs to try and make up some ground up at the front. We've got a pass for second place. It's going to be a 1-2 for Aston Martin, as Chiquito takes second place away from Yagazan. They said you can't pass at Hungary. They were wrong. Chiquito takes second place in this race away from the Mercedes driver of Yagazan. Trasmike just trying to stay in the fight here. Crucially, Kart Racer in this train, despite having to start so far down in the field. So Kart Racer, as always, putting in some pretty impressive performances, and being in this train at the moment means that they'll get... Oh, that's around again, Sparks. Looks like they're having some issues. They need to let their tyres cool down a little bit, which is easier said than done in the middle of a Grand Prix, but looks like they're going to probably have to come into the pits, maybe even retire from the session here, which is a shame for Sparks, but I hope they continue. Because, you know, there's a long way still in this race, and they could definitely still recover this. But as things stand, not looking quite as good for them, as around goes Jonah in turn 3. Another driver with some issues here. Will they be a bit more cautious getting back on the throttle? Looks like they're going to get going again here. They may well lose the position to JSAC. And as Sparks speeds in the pits, and yep, I had to... You could see that one coming there. Sparks has retired from the session now. So, 16 drivers remain here as it's an Aston Martin 1-2. Jonah looks like he's going to stay just ahead of J-Sack here. The hard tyres still not looking particularly nice to drive on in this race. But I believe that may well have been a spin in there for Jake Marsh. And he spins again there. Driver on the medium compound tyre was up in the points. It seems like this isn't a tyre-specific issue. Everyone seems to be having some issues at the moment. Luckily, got a bit of a straight here to cool down their tyres, unlike some of the other drivers who had to go from one spin directly into another. Jake Marsh got a little bit of straight here, but now we'll be dropping back into the clutches of those that have already pitted. Chazza pit already in this race, so this is not where Jake would want to be here. But, you know, still just outside the point, one position outside the points. And if we see the drivers continue to make mistakes like they have been so far, could be another chance. But Chazza will be looking to make this overtake here on Jake Marsh. Will they go for it up into turn 4? That'd be a brave one up into that tricky corner. Doesn't go for it. Bit cautious on entry, maybe turned it a little bit too soon. But hold on to it in the end. As around goes Chazza, another car spins, clipping that car on the inside. A big mistake here. And as soon as you see that wheel hook over the curb, you knew what was going to happen. It's a spin for Chazza. It gives Jake Marsh a bit of breathing room, but Chazza not going to be happy there. Looked like maybe he was in a position to get some points in this race when others pitted, but that spin is not going to help us around. And Jake Marsh is out of the race. He's had a big crash and a spin here in Sector 3. And that is a very unusual place to lose the control of your car, and this could well be a safety car. No change so far. I've got a couple of battles here up the order. Jake Marsh out of the race, only going to be the local yellows there. As we see a battle, Charlie Moon on the back of... sorry, that's Iron Lynx on the back of IFR Lynx on the back of Charlie Moon at the moment. Looks like they're pressuring the Alfa Romeo driver. Not going to be able to do much at this point of the lap. Just have to follow and put up with it. The medium tyres perhaps already becoming slower than the hards, which would be a surprise. But I mean, I think we can see here that the softs are clearly slower than the mediums at this stage. Maybe the mediums are always also starting to fall off. But as we stand, Kart Racer putting the pressure on Trasmike, trying to do all they can to take this position away from the Red Bull. But it's Hungary, it's a tough place to pass. But look at the difference in speed into the corner. Doesn't lose much on exit as Trasmike is going to come into the pits here, which will give Kart Racer DRS a couple attempts maybe gained for the McLaren driver. But Trasmike into the pits, the first of the soft runners to come in for a scheduled pit stop. And we get to see what sort of pit delta it will be. Coming in, going to go for the hard tyres, unsurprisingly, lap 9. Going to try and take those tyres. 27 laps in this race, roughly. Dropping a couple positions here, as, of course, they stay in the pits. But I think that's a sign of just where the field is at the moment. Pits from 4th place will come out 9th, only loses 5 positions. Field very spread out at this stage, except for those up at the front. We've got a nice little battle going on up here. 2nd and 3rd quite close together. We saw Yagzan lose that place to Chiquito earlier in the race. But Yagzan has not been left in the dust. These two staying nice and close, and they've now got Kart Racer reeling them in on those medium tyres. You can now really see the difference in grip. The medium tyres working so much nicer than the soft rubber, which looks to be struggling a little bit. I say a little bit a lot at this point in the race. Milan has lost a little bit of time out front as Chiquito got up into 2nd position, but not significant margins. Into the pits comes the race leader, the Aston Martin driver, Milan. Brings it in, doesn't speed crucially. And following them in, it is Yagazan, also coming in for their first pit stop. These two will both have to go to the hard compound of tyre. Let's see as they make their way out of the pit lane. Chiquito now leads 1.1 second gap behind to Kart Racer. Bottle also yet to pit in 3rd position. Lynx, another driver, yet to pit here as Jonah gets a 3-second time penalty there, down in 13th place. Milan comes out in 5th position. Again, a driver showing just how spread out this field is, not going to lose too much. And then some lovely fresh air here. Interestingly, Milan has gone to the medium compound of tyre. The question now is, can those tyres go to the end of the race? That's certainly an interesting one. But yeah, that's going to be a curious situation. It's surely not going to be a 2-stop. That's just, you know, that's never going to work here. Or do we? Who knows? Milan, clearly they have the speed, so I assume that the talent when it comes to strategies goes hand in hand with that. But yeah, let's keep an eye here on the tyres on the Aston Martin Milan. Interesting strategy calls. I imagine we'll see the leader come into the pits. Yes, we will. In they come now. Let's see what tyre compound the Aston Martin chooses to use. Another driver on the medium tyres. Maybe the Aston Martin guys just know something the rest of us don't. That is a interesting strategy there from the pair of them. If it works out, this is a real genius strategy if it does. But equally, if it doesn't, they may well have thrown away what was looking like a very strong result. And they do look at the difference in pace. So the fresh medium has gained over a second on Chiquito on the undercut, which now leaves Chiquito under some pressure from Yagazan. But crucially does hold on to that position to Yagazan, which of course would have been one of the drivers who was quite close to the Aston Martin. Michelizzi yet to pit in this race. Is there wheel to wheel going up into turn 4? Michelizzi lets it through. Looks like there may be some internet issues there for Michelizzi. But yes, interesting stuff here. Got a split in strategy between some of the top guys. And we've got sort of 3 different strategies playing out here. We've got kart race on the mediums. Let's see what they're going to be doing. We've got then we've got Milan. Well, actually, you know what we could say? We've got 4 strategies here. Kart race, so start on the mediums. Be interesting to see which tyre they go to. Then we've got Link started on the hard tyres. I imagine they'll probably go to the mediums if I had to guess. Maybe they go softs at the end. Maybe that'll be a little extra something. Then you've got Milan, lead driver, who started on the softs, went to the mediums to make that strategy work. And then we have Yagazan, the top driver, who started on the softs and then went to the hard tyres. So we've got 4 different strategies playing out here in this race. And I mean, I'm not complaining. This is some exciting stuff here. Not only have we got the on-track racing to keep an eye on, we have also got the strategic play that's going on in the background of this race. So let's keep an eye on that one. But as things stand, it is Milan looking like they're in control of this race. But you know, as we said, the strategy could go either way. We've got a battle here between Rafa and Michelizzi. Losing in half position is the Alpine driver, dropping down the order. Yet to put in this race, got started on the hard tyres. So going to be going long into this first stint, but still up in 9th place at the moment. Fruitful, I believe, still not in the session, but because of some of the drama we've seen in this race, yet to pit, but still in the points paying position. That's the sort of race we've had so far today. Yes, Kart Racer continuing to control this race out front with a fairly close battle here coming on for 2nd place. Bottle ahead of Lynx. Lynx on the hard compound tyre may become a much stronger tyre in the next few laps, so this could be one to keep watch of. Lynx will probably be quite happy to stay in the slipstream at the moment. Not sort of any big pace difference between the 2 cars, so probably better off just trying to conserve a bit behind them. Let's see, Lynx does appear to be doing just that as they make their way down the main straight. Will Lynx look for the move? No, they're going to stay behind on this occasion, and that looks like it's probably the smartest option for those guys. But Chiquito sets the last lap for Aston Martin, going quicker than their teammate, interestingly, who is just ahead of them, as Charlie Moon has got past the AI of Fruitful. So now out of the points is the AI driver of Fruitful there, but up at the front, Kart Racer now with a 7.1 second lead over to keep an eye on. That is very impressive from Kart Racer. Looking like they're just in a league of their own at the moment. It reminds me of Portimao, really, round 1 of the season, when we really saw Kart Racer had a bad qualifying, was forced to go on the alternative strategy. And when it sort of got to this stage of the race where the sort of pit cycles had spread out and we clearly could see who was best in each strategy, it was Kart Racer again, way ahead of any other driver on the same tyre strategy as himself. So we're seeing this again, and this time it's even bigger. I think it's like 3 or 4 seconds last time. This time 7.5 seconds. Very, very impressive driving from Kart Racer, and I think it's going to be certainly someone who could fight for this win later in the race. But of course they're going to probably have to fight their way back up the order, as of course they were behind when the first pit stop started, and the undercut effectively for those that started on the softs now on the hard tyres will put them quite a bit ahead. But I imagine with the pace Kart Racer is showing at the moment, they will certainly be able to get back into the fight in this race, which I think is what we all want to see. We want to see as many drivers as possible battling for this win, within reason, of course. If all 20 were within the fight for the win, maybe it would be exciting, maybe it would be a bit too much, who knows. Yes, it's going to be exciting in the late stages of this race. I've just got a feeling about that one. The driver's pretty single file at the moment. They all got to this sort of phase of the race where it's early in the race you want to get those positions. You want to make up for a bad qualifying. You know, you've got to try and get the position early, get the clean air, make the moves, get up the order. And of course, at the end of the race, you want to get the finishing position. You know, you've got to do absolutely all you can to try and get the absolute most points you possibly can get from the race. We're in this phase of the race at the moment as we see a spinner. That's Micheluzzi around the exit of the chicane, resets track again, and will drop down into 11th place. Looks like this has been a tough race for some so far today. But yeah, others sitting in a much nicer spot as another penalty there for Micheluzzi. Will Lynx make the move on this lap? No, they're going to stay behind once again here. But as I was saying earlier, we're sort of in this phase of the race at the moment where all these drivers are sort of focusing on the long game. They are where they are. They know what they're fighting for at this point. You know, you've had the start, you've had the qualifying, you've committed to the strategy, you've committed to where you're going to end up. Realistically, unless there's a safety car, we're not going to see any major sort of changes in this race now. It's very much just about, you know, I now know what the best possible position is for me. It's going to be important to just maximise that. And if that means staying in the DRS of someone and following them around for another 5-6 laps, that's what they're going to have to do. Something interesting to keep an eye on now. Milan in the slipstream, in the DRS, in the dirty air, crucially, of Lynx and Bottle here. If these two stay together, it could be a tricky one for Milan to pass, but Milan on much fresher, much softer medium tyres. Let's see what they can do as they make their way down towards turn 1 now. Milan, will they look for the move? Surely they have to. No, they don't, as Lynx will go for it. Down the inside into turn 1. Finally, we get some racing here in Hungary. Said it may be time to settle, but I think those hard tyres are just too good for Lynx not to capitalise on them. They get the position ahead of Bottle. And crucially for the drivers fighting for the win, Milan did not capitalise on that moment and has not been able to pass either of them. Or has he? Can they make the move up towards turn 4? That would be a very brave manoeuvre. Not going to go for it. Knows what they're fighting for today and will not attempt that manoeuvre. As Chaza has gone for another spin in this race. Not Haas's day so far. As they try and recover in this race. But Kart Racer 8.6 seconds out front. That battle helping them out a little bit. But Milan, look at how close they are to this pack of cars. I say pack duo of cars, I should really say. But given how much the field is spread out here, this very much is a pack. Just the 3 cars together on this racetrack. And I'm sure if we keep an eye on that gap to Chiquito in 5th place, that will be coming down as Milan sits behind these two. And I fear for Milan's sake that these two may be staying out quite a bit longer in this race. However, as I say that, they're both pit. Commentator's curse. That or just not me not knowing what I'm talking about. It's one of the two. But Milan gets clear air finally, and we'll feel the pressure lifted a little bit there, as the gap can now calm down between the two Aston Martin drivers, both in similar situations. And the gap to Kart Racer 9 seconds out front, Milan should not catch them before they pit. So Milan once again looking like they can cruise a little bit, not have to push too much, not have to worry too much. Again, we've returned to that phase of the Grand Prix where everyone just plays it a bit safer. But interestingly, we have seen here Lynx come out right behind Charlie Moon. Now, Charlie Moon, teammate. And crucially, Charlie Moon has already pitted in this race, will be going to the end. This is a legitimate position to fight for, and in the pits and out of the race. It is Chaza, sadly, out of this race. We now have 14 drivers left in the Grand Prix. Charlie Moon doing all they can to stay ahead. Now, this gives us an idea of what perhaps different tyres mean around here. Got a driver on fresh mediums, on a driver with 7 lap old hards. They're not dead, they're not horrifically worn, but they're not fresh, and they're not particularly soft either. So this could give us an idea of perhaps what to see later on in the race now. Lynx going to be doing all they can to try and make this move work on the Alfa Romeo driver. Milan, fast lap of the race. They're really in. Kart Racer out front. But now look at the difference in grip here for Lynx behind Charlie Moon. This overtake's happening this lap. Oh, I say this lap, this straight, I should say. Almost pushing them through the final corner, making a big difference. And there we go. Down towards turn 1. Lynx makes the move. And a clean move. DRS, crucial there for the Ferrari driver. And gets it all cleanly done before they even get to the first corner. So, limiting damage for Lynx now can start to pull away. As we could well even see the Alfa Romeo drivers let each other through. Charlie Moon with the older hard tyres may want to let their teammate ADRT Bottle have that position so that they can maybe look further up the road in this race. But as things stand, it is staying pretty steady in this race so far. No major dramas as of yet, no safety cars, except the virtual safety car on lap 1. But it's very much been Milan's day so far. Maybe you could argue Kart Racer as well. But of course they're going to come out way behind the race leader after their first pit stop in this race. So Monster Kart Racer, I wouldn't say it's out of it yet. It's going to take a lot of work for the McLaren driver to fight for this victory today. But given they started 11th, I don't know if Kart Racer would have really focused on the victory at all, to be honest. I think maybe they would be hoping top 5, maybe a podium if he's lucky, get strategy all nailed, get some clear wherever he needs it. Maybe that would have been the thought process for Kart Racer. I don't think they would have been expecting necessarily a win from 11th on the grid. Maybe I'm wrong. But we'll have to wait and see here what Kart Racer can pull off, because, of course, every lap Kart Racer stays out, they're going to be further and further behind after they've pitted. And it looks to me at the moment pretty clearly that Kart Racer is going to be going to the soft combat hard, because, well, if you go into the hard, you would have pitted probably, about 5 or 6, not 5 or 6, 3 or 4 laps ago, I'd say, would have been the time to pit if you were going, as Michelizzi is into the pits here for some medium compound tyres. Maybe want to go for faster lap in this race. That could certainly be something to go for. But yeah, the gap down 6.8 seconds. I imagine Kart Race will be coming in around lap 25 onwards. Based on my previous prediction, he'll probably pit lap 34, but who knows what will happen here. Milan reeling in the race lead, whilst Milan may in his head think, you know what, this isn't position, I don't really need to catch up Kart Racer that much, I can just cruise at the moment, make sure I keep that gap to Quito as big as possible. But Kart Racer is definitely going to be contender for the victory here at the end of the day, and it's going to be interesting to see how much you can gain from those soft tyres at the end of the race. We've seen so far in this race that sort of tyres make a massive difference. We saw how easily Lynx got past Charlie Moon after their pit stop. Softs compared to old hards, or old mediums, which are arguably worse than old hards to be honest in this race, it's going to be a huge difference. It's going to be seconds a lap that Kart Racer gains in. The problem is it's probably need to be about 3 or 4 seconds per lap really into the race leader, which is going to have to be some very impressive lap times, or it's going to mean that those tyres really do hit a cliff. So it's not going to be easy for Kart Racer who wants to try and get back in the fight for the win. But at the same time, Milan can't look at that gap to Kart Racer and go, you know, I'm safe, I'm comfortable, I can just cruise to the finish here. That's not going to be how it plays out in this one. But yeah, it's an interesting strategy playing out here. Kart Racer only 5.7 seconds out in the lead. It's going to be a curious one come the end, as Davey has lost a position here to Michelizzi on fresh tyres. Quite a lot less spins in this second half of the race. Perhaps unsurprisingly, these guys getting to grips with the conditions that they have, knowing what they can do with the car, knowing what they can't do with the car, more importantly. It seems everyone's settling in just a little bit, not pushing quite as hard as they were in the early stages, and also knowing how much they can push. You know, once you've had a couple spins, you know what you're doing wrong. You can sort of say, okay, well that's the limit. I can't go above that, and then you can sort of pace yourself for the rest of the race. And I mean, those that have no spins at all, they've never had the issue of pushing too hard, so they know that keep doing what they're doing. If it's working, they can just carry on. Milan, Chiquito, Yagazan, these guys in sort of these top positions, basically everyone that's in a point-paying position at the moment, or at least in the top 8, I'd say. All drivers have had fairly quiet races so far. They know they can sort of just sit safely. There's a 5-second time penalty speeding the pit lane there for Davey, who has now retired from the race. And then there was 13. Davey out of the race. Retires in the pit lane, and shame to see so many retirements, but a track like this, perhaps more surprising there haven't been more in this one. Whilst it's no Monaco, it's Monaco without the barriers, as people call it. And not been many crashes on track. I believe only the one retirement on the racetrack. We've had some collisions leading to damage that then led to a retirement in the pit lane, but only one actual retirement because of damage. So it's been more sort of just a running out of steam really for all of these drivers that have retired in this race. Just after a couple incidents. Oh, as that's off the road. Okay, yep, ignore me. Off the road there, the car that had already retired. But yes, it's Kart Racer still out front here comfortably, doing all they can to make this strategy work. It's looking not too bad for Kart Racer at the moment. We perhaps could start to see a little bit of wear hurting Milan, start to mean that Milan can't reeling Kart Racer as much as earlier. But I mean, Kart Racer really pushing hard at the moment. I think we could see them in the pits in the next couple of laps as JSAC does pit. Let's see what Kart Racer does on this occasion. Staying out once more. I think, yeah, it's going to be another few laps before we see any movement down in the McLaren garage. Lap car up ahead for Kart Racer are fruitful, but they're quite a way off in the distance and also out of the race. There shouldn't be any issues for our race leader. Ahead of Fruitful, there's a 10-second gap to JSAC, who's on fresh tyres, so I don't imagine we'll see too much traffic in this race. Maybe be Fruitful going a lap down, of course, hasn't been able to race, has been in AR mode for the entirety of this thing because of some internet connectivity issues. But yeah, it's Kart Racer still doing what he's done all season, lead out front and continue to push as we see a change of position here. For 9th position, it is Jonah getting ahead of Charlie Moon. That's an interesting one. Jonah on the worst tyres of the pair of them. I imagine that's just some very impressive tyre saving from Jonah to make that move stick. Putting in a pretty impressive drive there to pass the driver that has 7 lap fresher tyres. Maybe there's some damage on Charlie Moon's car. You know, there is. I mean, they can lose a second a lap to the end. They could lose 2 seconds a lap to the end and still probably get that points paying position. So maybe we could see a pit stop from Charlie Moon, go to the mediums, try and stay at a Michelizzi and get some points that way. Maybe get a fast lap as well. That could be a shout. Maybe even go to a soft tyre. That's sort of getting that late stage of the race. That certainly could be a strategy call they try and make as Charlie Moon goes off the road a little bit there. Of course, a soft tyre at the end will be very good for the fastest lap. But Kart Racer also going to be on that soft tyre, so it's going to be the soft tyre's going to be good for fastest lap. However, it's not going to be the only driver out on the soft tyres if Charlie Moon does indeed choose to pit here. Because at the moment it looks like they're not quite close enough to make much happen here as a penalty for JSAC there. Already down in 12 out of the points, not their day today. And as we sort of almost expected after qualifying, we do have a very spread out field in today's race. And if you're watching this race trackside, you get constant action. There's always a car coming by. But apart from that, no real gains to be had as Jonah and Charlie Moon getting very close here. So perhaps maybe suddenly those 14-lap old hard tyres are coming alive here for the Alfa Romeo driver. And as I say that, gee, wow, commentator's curse and a half right there. And safety car is deployed, and this changes everything. Into the pits comes Kart Racer onto a pair of soft tyres, and Milan does not react in time. Chiquito does. Milan, this could be the moment that has changed the race. Milan not able to react to the safety car in time. Will be out on the medium tyres. Everyone else behind could well be on the soft compound, and it does look that way. Oh, this is heartbreaking for Milan. The driver who has really been the class of the field today. Qualified on pole, put in some great laps early in the race, and continue that throughout it. Really was either in the lead or in the net lead throughout the entirety of it. But that is frustrating to see for Milan. They will be able to, of course, pit if they choose to, but I don't know what they can do here. When they do pit, they're going to come out with, of course, they've caught the safety car, so they're going to come out back end of the points, if that. This is it's a painful scenes for Milan here, as now 12 drivers remain in this race. I don't know if I really should say anything regarding any driver's chances at this race anymore, given my commentator's curse has been in top form today. So yeah, that's I'll refrain from saying someone's got this in control or someone's having some troubles, because if they're having troubles, they'll probably win the race, and if they've got it in control, they'll probably crash the next corner. So let's wait and see here. What can Milan do? Do they pit? Let's see, what's the gap at the moment? If they did pit currently, they'd probably come out 5th. But they've still got another 2 corners to do before the pit entry arrives. So the chances are they're probably going to come out around 7th place is going to be my predicted position for Milan to exit the pit lane at, as now they dart in. Kart Racer will take the lead, the championship leader, once again in a position to win the race. But Chiquito on the medium tyres, interestingly. That is, perhaps they had no fresh softs, perhaps it wasn't worth going to those soft tyres, but that's an interesting one. Could the medium tyres be the better ones in the long term here? That's certainly a possibility, but it's not a possibility that Milan and Kart Racer have taken as Milan. Will they come out in 7th place? Yes, they will. First thing I got right today. That is, I'm happy. I'm very happy with that one. Finally, maybe we've shaken it off. But yes, here we go. Kart Racer on the softs. Kart Racer's pace in these first few laps is going to be critical for the race here. If Kart Racer can't extend that lead up to a few seconds in the first few laps after this restart, those medium tyres are going to be better tyres to be on by about lap 33, lap 34, lap 35. If Kart Racer has a big lead by that point, he's not really going to have to worry. Keep it on the road, he'll be fine. However, if, crucially, the medium guys can keep it in the slipstream and the DRS of Kart Racer, the second that those soft tyres start to fall away, those medium guys are going to be ready to pounce on our race leader and, well, do all they can to try and take the win away from Kart Racer. It's exciting scenes here. Will it be 4 in a row for Kart Racer, or will we see our 3rd winner of the season? Safety car out here in Hungary. Had a virtual safety car on lap 1, but no interruptions to the action since then, of course, until the safety car for Charlie Moon crashing. Not too hard, just a small, just spun up the rear tyres, lost control of the car, found themselves in a barrier, and well, it's easy to do. We say to Monaco without the barriers, but the barriers are there. They're just about a few metres further away from the racetrack, so if you look hard enough you will find them. So easily done, and it's a shame to see, especially on tyres that Charlie Moon was on 14 lap old hards. Shame for him, but the race goes on. Kart Racer leading the way, Chiquito in 2nd. This is going to be an exciting end to this race, I imagine. JSAC into the pits for a set of soft compound tyres. Could they be coming in to put on a new set of soft tyres here, just to make sure that they have got the best possible compound? It looks like that's exactly what they're doing. Very interesting stuff here. If we're at the back already, why not have even better tyres? Something to keep an eye on this race. Fruitful, a lap down here. We said that we could see some lap traffic in this one, and we are. Fruitful, of course, in AI, but is sitting 3rd in the train here behind the safety car. That could cause some issues for guys like Yagazan, Trasmike, those guys who are back in the field. They could perhaps lose the... oh, that's a bit of lag there from Chiquito. He's going to lose the position, actually, to the Ferrari of Fruitful. Yeah, that could certainly play a factor here, as there's a lot of lag there from Chiquito in the Aston Martin. But yeah, that's an interesting one for sure. Safety car could well be in on this lap. She's got a big gap here, and it is in this lap. We've got a pretty big gap here between the Red Bull and the Mercedes or Trasmike, I believe. Is that the case? Oh no, maybe not. Maybe just the lap cars causing some issues. Yes, here we go, getting ready for the restart. Kart Racer weaving that soft compound. It's going to find heat much easier than the mediums are, so that's something that will be of an advantage to Kart Racer, and that will be a disadvantage to the rest of the field. Another advantage is that they will get to call the restart, and they go into the final corner. Kart Racer will bring the field around the final corner and back to green flag racing. And Trasmike has had a problem here on the restart, and from what was looking like a potential podium, Trasmike has spun and drops down out of the points. Heartbreak for the Red Bull driver here, but up at the front, it is Kart who leads the way. Chiquito crucially now has to stay within that DRS for the next few laps. Yagazan sitting third. Rafa in fourth, trying to get past the lapped car here as the Ferrari of Lynx trying to capitalise on their teammates' disconnection. Try and make some moves. Looks like they get it done here. Milan in sixth here already. Of course, Transmike's issues have helped them out. Milan, someone you can't rule out in this race. The pace they've shown throughout. Can they get themselves back in the fight for the win? They're in sixth at the moment, but they're going to have a lot of cars between them and first place. And I worry that it may just not be possible for them to get up to the order. And as I say that, they make a move into the chicane. That's the sort of stuff Milan is willing to do to make their way into a potential win today. Maybe only a podium, but this is a determined Milan on our hands here. This guy wants to win, and they are doing all they can, and they've thrown it away. 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings for Milan. That will probably be their chances at the win. Just gone, really. They're not going to be able to charge to the front and then pull away 3 seconds. So Milan now going to have to sort of focus on just trying to get as far ahead of those behind them as possible, trying to get as many points as possible. But what was looking like it was going to be the win today for Milan sadly does not look like it will be the case. I see a battler, Jonah and Bottle, battling away for that 7th position as they dive into turn 1 now. We've got Jonah on the inside, Bottle on the outside. Who's going to come out on top in this battle now? Jonah holds on this occasion. The soft tyres working well on that Haas car. Don't know if they will do in a few laps' time, though. That could be when we start to see the strategies change on which one you want to be on. But Chiquito is still only 8 tenths back from Kart Racer, keeping the McLaren driver honest. Knows that Kart Racer has the championship to think about. Chiquito can risk maybe that little bit more, take a few extra centimetres of each apex curb. That could be all the difference in this race. All these drivers now up front, pushing as hard as they can. Kart Racer will be desperate to see that gap behind him go above 1 second, because, I mean, if that gap does not go above 1 second before DRS is enabled, he could well be in trouble. Not now, the soft tyre still very much the tyre to be on, but in 5-6 laps time, it could be very much the opposite. But that gap, just over a second, now just under it. This really is flipping around. Still, another lap to go before DRS is enabled. There it is. Won't be available on this lap. However, the next lap, it will be. Let's see, Jonas, that's the fast lap on the hard tyres. Sorry, not on the hard tyres. On the soft tyres, sorry. As they're already making a move here. 4-6 plates on links. Soft tyres are working brilliantly for Jonah at the moment. Carving their way up the order, up into 6th place. But again, another driver that will be having to nurse those tyres towards the end of the race. So, I'd say if I were Jonah, I'd be getting these positions whilst I can before the tyres began to switch up a little bit. But yes, up at the front, a 9-tenth gap between the top two. Yagazan trying to hold on to them, but you can just tell both of these top guys are not holding anything back in these final stages of the race. Yagazan is just watching in awe of these two. As a big slide there from Chiquito, that could make the difference between DRS and no DRS. And you can see that's cost him a 10th, maybe 2. This could be a crucial moment in the race. A tiny snap of oversteer could well change who wins this one. Who knows here? Chiquito is going to be just outside of the DRS on this occasion, or are they? They're going to dive it into the final couple of corners. Will it be enough for Chiquito to get within the DRS? It's going to be close. It's not going to be enough, though. Chiquito will not have DRS on this occasion. You can see he's used all his DRS that he can to try and get that position, but not able to do it on this lap. Maybe next time. The softs aren't going to last forever. Can't give up if you're Chiquito. However, the ERS has taken a significant hit, and like Mitami said for Yagazan, it's really maximum push from the top guys today. I see a battle here between Milan and Rafa. Milan going to go all the way around the side of turn 2. That's never going to work there. Tries to make it, line them up the hill now towards turn 4. Will Milan go for the move? Surely not into turn 4. That'd have to be a cent and a half to get it up there. Doesn't go for it here. Rafa doing all they can to hold on to this 4th place. The medium tyres not the ones to be on at the moment, but they could well be in a few laps' time. If Rafa can just hold on to this position, he could still get himself into that top 4 position, maybe even a podium, if something goes wrong for one of the guys up front. Rafa doing all they can, and you could see the dirty air. Just absolutely destroying the aerodynamics of the car behind. Milan, nothing they can do following through that S section. And struggles here for the Esteban driver, who at one point looked like they had this race under control. The gap now between the top two, 1.4 seconds. It's growing a little bit more again. The soft tyres still looking like the ones you want to be on. But as you've seen so far in this race, that changes quickly. Any battles further down the field, Milan close to the back of Rafa. Not close enough though. Now with Jonah behind Milan, this could get very exciting for this 4th position. If Milan doesn't make this move soon, Jonah will make it for him. Let's see now. Not able to do it. This time even further back than last time. Looking like they may be running a little bit low on their batteries here. Moss Milan has struggled to pass the Williams. Jonah has been capitalising on this and trying to get their way up the order again with a 3-second time penalty. And another 3-second time penalty there for the Haas driver. That could have a big effect. Let's have a brief look at penalties here. So it is 3 seconds for Milan, 6 seconds for Jonah, 3 seconds to Pahul, 3 seconds to Micheluzzi. And as a spin-up, that's for Jasak, who is around in the wall, same place as Charlie Moon did. And they have 9 seconds of time penalties. But of course, the car behind them is a lap further back, so no issues for them. Well, I mean, yes, plenty of issues, but not going to make too big of a difference in terms of finishing position in today's race. The gap has come down. 2 tenths less than it was last time around. Chiquito begins the charge once more. Kart Racer. Just 3 laps left in this race. Has to keep that McLaren on the road. He knows the tyre situation. He knows everything that's going on here. He's won 3 times in the last 3 races. Quite impressive. He's been on the podium in every single race this season. If someone's going to make the strategy work, it will be him. Started 11th in today's race. The gap is continuing to close now. Chiquito looking to be the 3rd different driver to win this season. Only those... the only other driver other than Kart Race to win is Strike, who sadly retired early in this race today. It's going to be a close battle. That is for sure. The gap now just over a second. A perfect final sector for Chiquito, and they will be in the DRS. These are crucial moments of this race. Not long left. Chiquito with a small snap. Gets it briefly under a second. It's back over a second. Diving into the penultimate corner. Will it be enough? On the exit. It's under a second. Chiquito has DRS this time. Will it be enough for the Aston Martin driver to get into the fight for the win? 2 laps remain here in Hungary. Kart Racer versus Chiquito. Only one can be victorious. Yagazan ready and waiting in case anything goes wrong up ahead of them. That's how Wischuk got his win in Portimao. He just waited for those up ahead to have their problems and stole it right out of their grasp. This time, it's Yagazan 2 seconds back from Chiquito. Gito only 3/4 of a second behind the race leader. Got battling further down the order here as Micheluzzi and Trasmike trying to make their way up the order here. Trasmike's had some issues in this race. Going to try and get some points though away from some of their rivals. Trasmike in a strong championship position, so any points today will be helpful. But our eyes glued on this battle for the win. Just 6.5 tenths separate them. Kart Racer versus Chiquito. We are getting ready for the final. Just a sector and a lap. Penultimate corner now. Kart Racer doing all they can to grow that gap. Small little wobble there. Still, 7/10 gap. Will it be big enough for Kart Racer to hold on? Will it be small enough for Chiquito to make the move? They're using their DRS. They're using their ARS. They're doing all they can as they dive towards turn 1. Chiquito not close enough into turn 1. Kart Racer will lead into the first corner. Now, what can Chiquito do? Can they make this move stick, or is it going to go to Kart Racer? Into turn 2, it's Kart Racer who continues to lead, still holding on to the race lead. Chiquito doing all they can to find some grip, to find some clean air, just to get it over their car, but it's not going to come just yet. It's looking like Kart Racer has this win in the palm of their hands. But anything can change here. Chiquito on the back of the McLaren driver. This is all but over. Kart Racer may have the lead, and you may think this is exactly where you can't pass Hungary. Nothing can happen in this one. But you can see that McLaren, those tyres are gone. Chiquito continuing to follow. Doesn't get a run out of there. Surely now this is Kart Racer's race to lose. A lock-up from Chiquito. That could be the deciding moment in this race. Kart Racer through the penultimate corner now. Will this be his 4th win in a row and a chance to extend his championship lead even further? It's all clean, it's all good. The McLaren driver is going to win in Hungary. It's 4 in a row for Kart Racer. Chiquito did all they could, but only 2nd place as Yagazan completes the podium for Mercedes. A great battle all the way to the end. Kart Racer takes home the win. Brilliant drive. And, well, that was certainly quite the race to watch. At times maybe got a little bit quiet, but as always in this league, you can never get bored of this racing. You know, it's just, you think it's gone quite, you think, oh, like, you know, that's it, then that's the winner, that's the podium. But just like that, it all changes. And just like that, it all changed. Kart Racer wins in Hungary from 11th on the grid. A brilliant drive with Chiquito in 2nd place. Yagazan will take 3rd. Rafa takes 4th for Williams. Lynx takes 5th for Ferrari. Milan, the driver who at one point looked almost unstoppable, will only manage 6th in this race, and that is heartbreaking for that driver, who put in quite the performance but just wasn't meant to be today. Your winner is Kart Racer. That's a phrase we said a lot this season. I feel like it's a phrase we're going to say a lot more in the rest of it. The in-game driver of the day, Lynx there. But I mean, I feel like if the game knew what Kart Racer did, maybe it would say something different. 11th to 1st. Quite the drive. Lynx, of course, did come from the back of the grid, to be fair. All the way up to 5th, so definitely a shout for him as well. Who knows? But yes, there is your podium. 3 very deserving drivers. The championship lead will grow for Kart Racer here. And quite possibly will grow for McLaren as well. A team and driver who are truly in their peak of performance right now. And it's going to take a lot to stop them. It's going to take more than raw pace to stop these guys. There you go. There is your final finishing order here in Hungary. It's a win for Kart Racer. 2nd for Chiquito, 3rd for Yagazan, 4th for Rafa, 5th for Lynx, Milan in 6th, Jonah in 7th, Trasmike in 8th. Bottle takes 9th, the final points paying position goes to Michelizzi in 10th place. Jasak takes 11th, Fruitful a lap down in 12th, and they are all your finishers there. 12 drivers finished the race, 11 of them on the lead lap. I think that's what you call a pretty crazy race right there. Fast lap in the end there went to Jonah in their charge back up the order. Slight surprise that Kart Race didn't get that one, but maybe the DRS helped Jonah on their way to that one. But yes, that was it for Hungary here in PSGL F6 on the PlayStation side. Hope you enjoyed that race as much as I did. It was quite an entertaining one to commentate over, and shame for some drivers, but also glory for some others. Some brilliant drivers in the mix there. And I look forward to next week's race, as I'm sure that will be just as exciting. But that's it for this week. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll talk to you all next week.